When the nation speaks, the roundtable listen, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Join the conversation that matter the most, live, unfiltered, unapologetic, with local voices and international minds. The roundtable dive deep into today's toughest questions in society, politics, culture. Nothing is off limits. Your voice, your questions, your platform. Live on Wiz TV, featuring top panelists, Mr. Samuel Abu, Mr. Hamed Fofana, Mr. Cyrus Gray, Mr. Jai Blamo, and your host, William McGill. Heated debate, eye-opening truths, and real impact. Tune in to the Roundtable every Tuesday and Thursday, only on Wiz TV Live. The Roundtable, where every voice counts. When the nation speaks, the Roundtable listen, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Join the conversation that matter the most, live, unfiltered, unapologetic, with local voices and international minds. The Roundtable dive deep into today's toughest questions in society, politics, culture. Nothing is off limits. Your voice, your questions, your platform. Live on Wiz TV, featuring top panelists, Mr. Samuel Abu, Mr. Hamed Fofana, Mr. Cyrus Gray, Mr. Jai Blamo, and your host, William McGill. Heated debate, eye-opening truths, and real impact. Tune in to the Roundtable every Tuesday and Thursday, only on Wiz TV Live. The Roundtable, where every voice counts. When the nation speaks, the Roundtable listen, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Join the conversation that matter the most, live, unfiltered, unapologetic, with local voices and international minds. The Roundtable dive deep into today's toughest questions in society, politics, culture. Nothing is off limits. Your voice, your questions, your platform. Live on Wiz TV, featuring top panelists, Mr. Samuel Abu, Mr. Hamed Fofana, Mr. Cyrus Gray, Mr. Jai Blamo, and your host, William McGill. Heated debate, eye-opening truths, and real impact. Tune in to the Roundtable every Tuesday and Thursday, only on Wiz TV Live. The Roundtable, where every voice counts. When the nation
yesterday the police had a press conference calling on the public to be very kind as they go into this case. The government is also calling on the U.S. embassy to come in with independent DNA test. Why can't you wait on the government?
We cannot wait because the police have not taken the same stand when it comes to other people or when it was about other rape suspects. There are families who can attest that their sons and brothers are in South Beach today just based on rape allegations. So why is the police asking for DNA, asking for patients? This incident occurred since August 30th. Today is September 18th. You should also join in asking why the delay. On August 14th last month, I ensured one massacre who raped a 14-year-old girl went to South Beach. On August 15th last month, I ensured a Harris who raped a young lady went to South Beach. So they didn't ask me. But obviously we're on the same no, that's somebody's business.
So tell us, folks, good morning, good afternoon, whatsoever you are joining us from. Tell us, Wiz TV coming to you live from just opposite the Labrador National Police Headquarters here in Monrovia, where some Labradorians women have come and gathered to say let the law take its course against raping Labrador, as the government insists that there.
The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Joseph Numa Boakai, Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia. I request protocol to escort His Excellency and invite him to address the Assembly.
His Excellency, Philemon Yagan, President of the 79th Session of the United Nations General Assembly, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Ambassadors, Heads of Delegations, and esteemed delegates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to address the 79th regular session of the United Nations General Assembly for the first time as President on behalf of the government and people of Liberia after a smooth back-to-back democratic transition. Liberia congratulates His Excellency Philemon Yagun on his election as President of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. You can be assured of Liberia's support as you steer the affairs of the General Assembly. I extol His Excellency Dennis Francis for his astute leadership during his presidency of the 78th session of the General Assembly and commend his determination to inspire and rekindle hope globally. I deeply thank Secretary General Antonio Guterres for the remarkable and visionary leadership he continues to provide in pursuit of our collective mandate. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in the summer of 1945, Liberia joined other nations in San Francisco as one of the original signatories to the United Nations Charter. On that fatal day, the world, having suffered the scourge of war, was full of hope and determined to reverse the past. Nearly 80 years on, and reflecting on the preamble of the United Nations Charter, which declares our commitment to promote social progress and better standard of life and larger freedom, we ask the question, has our reaffirmation of faith in the dignity and worth of human person made 8 decades ago had been realized? We must admit that the world has changed and the frontiers that we now embrace are different. In it, greed, insensitivity to the poor, the international drug epidemic, money laundering, dynamics of climate change, and the impact of social media must compel us to rethink our approach to global peace and security. Our beloved United Nations must undergo the institutional and philosophical reflections required to respond to the new age. As we assemble under this theme, unity in diversity for advancement of peace, sustainable development, and human dignity for everyone, everywhere, it is important to recognize the shared values and collective efforts that come from our unity with diversity. We must acknowledge these as essential for the advancement of peace, sustainable development, and the inherent dignity of every human being worldwide. By doing so, we can build a better world where no one is left behind. Like many nations gathered at this assembly, Liberia recommits to the Sustainable Development Goals. Since the end of the country's conflict, we have strived to follow a development path that will lead to building a capable state. 12 years ago, we dared to dream of a future within the realm of possibility, harboring core national aspirations to transform the future. Named Liberia Rising or Vision 2030, it has been the driving force behind all of our planning efforts. The building of blocks and the tenets of Vision 2030 are significantly aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. Our government's Arrest agenda is a comprehensive approach developed to address the economic and social needs of millions of Liberians, especially the youth, who account for 60% of our population. With emphasis on agriculture, roads, infrastructure, development, justice, and the rule of law, education, sanitation, health, and tourism, the agenda had mainstreamed the SDGs as it is designed to take Liberia to the finish line of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. The fight against poverty, the promotion of human dignity, a steadfast commitment. Despite our progress, poverty remains a significant challenge, with over half of our population living below the poverty line. The Sustainable Development Goals aim to eradicate poverty in all forms by 2030, ensure social protection for the poor and vulnerable, improve the access to essential services. Liberia is dedicated to assessing the levels and the causes of poverty and implementing strategies to reduce it and promote shared prosperity. My government also acknowledges pressing need to address maternal and newborn mortality by implementing robust monitoring and evaluation of health services in the country to accelerate the reduction of maternal and newborn mortality. We are particularly blessed and pleased with the United Nations HC Joint Mission to Liberia this year, which concluded a commitment to combat the high burden of increasing newborn deaths. We welcome the United Nations General Assembly's decision to declare July 25th as the International Day of Women and Girls of African Descent this year. This significant milestone acknowledges that women and girls of African descent have unique opportunities, but they also have challenges that the global fight against slavery and racism is necessary to achieve gender equality. Liberia credits its credentials by producing the first woman president of the United Nations General Assembly, Angie Brooks Randall, and first female president of Africa, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Liberia has witnessed and continues to witness the immense contribution of women and girls of African descent in politics, culture, and every area of societal development. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Liberia has enjoyed uninterrupted peace for almost 2 decades, following the 14 years of civil conflict. During this time, we have held 4 democratic elections, with last year's election marking the 4th since the return to democratic order in 2006. In January this year, Liberia achieved a historic milestone by peacefully transitioning from one democratic government to the other. This progress is significant because before the 2018 transition, the last democratic transition occurred in 1944.
That's a contradiction. So I think the guys are just a bunch of what we call political and professional tabula rasa and buccaneers. So-called experts in the country. That's a contradiction. So I think the guys are just a bunch of what we call political and professional tabula rasa and buccaneers. Of lawlessness, of barbarity, of hooliganism, of gangsterism. The real perpetrator of the burning of the capital building is Mr. Gregory Como. And that's the reason why we have come to protect the citizen law.
What's the specific fear of the lawmakers that are being invited for questioning? What's the specific fear about the lawmakers that are being invited for questioning?
Fear here? No pressing. There's no pressing here for CDC. Nobody can represent lawmaker here. All the guys are doing what they're now big formality. Gregory Common doesn't have any pressing for us in this country. Let me repeat. Gregory Common doesn't have police. They do not have pressing for CDC. Yes. All we come here for is for formality.
Yes. Your statements could sound intimidating.
Why are you intimidating? Do you know that some video already over frauded and plotted? Is that intimidation?
So,
I'm telling you.
Government. Nobody went back and how you feel with mostly. No. We will make sure that we provide the required evidence that we convict all of them.
Earlier we did hear the judge mention about the motion to suppress evidence was immature in the whole matter.
Well, we told you that we have evidence. The quality of evidence we have is not evidence that can be overcome. The quality of evidence is very sufficient. When you say sufficiency in evidence in court, those are evidence that cannot be overcome by any rebuttable presumption. So there is no way that they can overcome the evidence we have. When they talk about evidence being collected in such a way, claiming sodomy. The people who they were claiming on their behalf, the people said they were not sodomy. So where that information came from? It must have come from either the lawyer or somebody else. We are responsible institutions. All the criminal justice actors now in Liberia are not people that will tolerate torture. We will not be people that will be in the position to make sure that people are tortured. No.
Prior to the medical report, there will be posts all on social media as well in some media outlets in the country that the report went in favor of the defendant. When you have trouble by seeing this report all around?
You know me for long. I don't even talk normally except in on the screen, casual conversation like this. I don't plead my cases in the public to me. I plead my cases in court. My cleaning is to talk in court and not to come outside the talk. Even David tells I met my friend and I need to tell you that the ruling was proper, well researched, and it is backed by all the legal authority.
Now, defense team took an exception to the judge's way in that motion, and then he said Friday as a day for the case to commence. Are you anticipating more of that?
Like they better get ready for Friday. They better get ready for Friday. Friday is the big day, the beginning of the voting. All their motions are finished. Nothing else they have. They better get ready for Friday.
Meaning that you are ready now to submit your evidence.
We are ready even as now. If we are ready now, we can continue. We have our witnesses prepared and ready. So they better get ready on Friday.
Well, that's something you see.
Thank you so much.
Ruling. But let me comment again on the evidence because I heard again some lawyers talking about overwhelming evidence. Do you have eyewitnesses? No. Do you have camera to show who lit the fire? No. Do you know who lit the fire? No. Do you have forensics evidence? Fingerprint, footprint, hair fibers, and what have you to prove your case? No. What you have is a bunch of call-off and a bunch of recordings. And that will not be sufficient to sustain a guilty verdict. They have nothing. But it was important, it was always important at the lawyer's stage of this trial that they put everything on the record. It's now on the record. The medical reports are on the record. The performance, the starting investigation is on the record. Now as we move to the evidentiary stage, you will begin to see the entire case fall apart for lack of sufficient evidence or lack of no evidence because the defendants in the darkness are completely innocent.
Okay, sir, one more question. In the report, we saw some of the portions that is glaring that there were, like the defendant claim these were confirmed, but the question is the time frame, which is one of the things the judges were concerned about, that the time frame of what happened, and then the report also stated that it might not have been as a result of the torture.
No, you're wrong. You see, we got to learn to read and comprehend, right? In Thomas Etheridge's report, let me just take one. It says consistent with allegation of torture, period. There's no qualification. If you look at, I believe it was Stephen Breaux, it said consistent with allegation of torture, but could be other things. So you don't just take what they wrote about Stephen Breaux because it's convenient to you. You take what they wrote of each of them.
There are several others. I'm just giving.
Okay. So maybe there were 2 of them or 3 of them. What happened to the ones where they were consistent? You know that? You don't. Okay? Yeah. We were under the impression that the medical report, since the report itself identified that it would be scientific, we were under the impression that it would be taken. But I mean, what's the next move? What's the next move? We're going to trial with the overwhelming evidence that they say they have. Which again, they do not have eyewitness. They do not have camera to show who lit the fire. They do not have forensic evidence. Imagine the FPRC evidence say the Cora bottle contained water and kerosene. What kind of nonsense is that?
Aren't you going to a Supreme Court?
Well, that's the lawyer's decision. I'm not going to interfere with what they choose to do. No, but I'm not representing myself. The lawyer that representing himself has a fool for a client.
Thank you.
Judges ruling. But let me comment again on the evidence because I heard again some lawyer talking about overwhelming evidence. Do you have eyewitnesses? No. Do you have camera to show who lit the fire? No. Do you know who lit the fire? No. Do you have forensics evidence? Fingerprint, footprint, hair fibers, and what have you to prove your case? No. What you have is a bunch of call logs and a bunch of recordings, and that will not be sufficient to sustain a guilty verdict. They have nothing. But it was important, it is always important, at the lawyer's stage of this trial is now on the record.
The former president Dan Nansky catch on fire. You can see the smoke. Yeah, wait. I mean, you know what's that? Let me say here. You say.
I bring that.
I can't stand no more, cause I'm a fool. I cannot go to school, cause no more money. I can't stand no more, cause I'm a fool. I cannot go to school, cause no more money. Hey yo, excuse me, just take your leave. I wanna how you make your head.
A pleasant good evening and welcome to the round table. It's a pleasure to be on here tonight on today's presentation. Today is September 25th, 2025, and it's Thursday, our final presentation for this week. Let me say good evening to all of you, our viewers. If you're joining us there live from our Facebook page, we'd like to say good evening from Liberia. If you're joining us there from our YouTube as well, we'd like to say thanks for always being here, and let me welcome Mr. Abu to the program. Good evening, Mr. Abu.
Well, I'm glad to be here tonight. It has taken some time since Tuesday we left from here. We know Liberia is always the place where the news is made, where newsmakers are very interested in making news to remain in the news. My name is Samuel Abu. We are here tonight on the round table, coming to you live from the Ways TV that we air from both the United States and in Liberia. So I'm happy that we're going to be here tonight. So we already gone into the time. What are we supposed to be discussing tonight?
We basically gonna talk about the arson attack situation. The arson fire situation at the Capitol building, and we've been following that case closely. And when the trial began, initially, we also came out with our own opinions about the situation. So we've been following where the case is taking a different trend now. There's some legal twist within the case where the common speaker, Councilor Antique Kofi, and his co-defendants have petitioned the Supreme Court for a writ of arbitration. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but I think it's a court war, and the judge at the Supreme Court, Judge Willie, has denied their motion to suppress key evidence. So, Councilor Kofi and co-defendants are now, trying to find another means so that they can be able to have access to weaken the government, because this case is between the government of Liberia and that of some other lawmakers and some other individuals that are said to be part of the incident. Let's say the incident there at Capitol building, and that is it. And we're hoping to give our own opinion on the situation out of what we know and understand. We not going to be speaking, as the judge or a fully legal expert, but at least our own opinion on the situation is essential. So that is it right there, Mr. Al.
So we're going to be starting with this case with the arson case from the Capitol building, where former Speaker Fonati Kofi and his co-defendants are there in the court. And what we understand that one day or yesterday, they did file a writ of certiorari. They call it certiorari, which is more or less something requesting the higher court to review the judgment or to review the judgment of a lower court to see whether the lower court was right or they were wrong. In this case, this is something that started a long time ago. And as we see, what I did here was I tried to look at it, say the Supreme Court will decide whether to grant a writ of certiorari based on at least 4 of the justices. In the case of Liberia, we have the justice in chamber, which is James Eto Wolokoli, and we are going to be looking. They are going to have a conference tomorrow, and the conference will determine whether the lower court judge was right to dismiss it, because they were asking that they want to suppress the evidence that was provided. But we will have to look up what they will say tomorrow. If it is not accepted, or if it is accepted, then we look forward to then we have to look forward to having people, let's say the jurors, or they want to do the jury will have to be set up, and these people will appear before it. But as we are seeing already, when the case started, we see Fonati Kofi and others were saying that those evidence that were provided were submitted, those were not credible evidence, and therefore I don't know why today they are talking about suppressing it. They want to go to a higher court. I don't see them in. I think what they're really trying to do, Fonati Kofi is trying to influence the would-be jurors, because in the end there will be a jury. He's trying to keep coming out to influence the would-be jurors, and also to have some political influence, because they will say Fonati Kofi, former speaker, and all of these things. So the jurors that will be selected, some of them will feel that, oh, Fonati Kofi has won the case. But if we look deep into the evidence that have been submitted and whatever the court has already said, the investigation from the courts, from the hospital, everything is that I mean, the defendants are saying no. We were not coerced, because they are saying that they were either coerced, sodomized, or terrorized, waterboarded, and all these things. But all of them, the defendants have denied it, that they were not sodomized. And the hospital has already also shown that they were never sodomized. So I don't know where Fanatical Fire and his group are coming from with all of this to say that, oh, the judge in the lower court, in the circuit court, did err in his decision that he's supposed to have let it pass. So it is this decision that is going to the Supreme Court, where they're going to have a conference, and Justice in Chamber with 3 others, where there will be 4, and deciding whether the judge made an error. So that's all about the writ of certiorari to determine whether the lower court judge made an error. And if he made an error, then they will be sent back for them to correct that thing, which means overturning whatever decision they made. And in some cases in the court, if the court grants the writ of certiorari, the case is added to the docket, and maybe the parties will file new briefs, focusing on the merits of what has happened. They have to produce new evidence and other things. Because what will be following this case for a very long time, every time they come from court, you will see Fanatical Fire will decide to go to the press. He will be giving press interviews, trying to jeopardize the case or trying to do those kind of things. But he does understand what he's doing. He's an experienced lawyer, and he's trying to win the sympathy of the people and try to influence the judge, the would-be jurors, because in the end, the case will go to the jury. Let's listen to what Fanatical Fire said.
Okay, let me bring that quickly, and so we can be able to listen to this. This is what he said in the court. Okay.
Drink some soda.
Ruling. But let me comment again on the evidence, because I heard again some lawyer talking about overwhelming evidence. Do you have eyewitnesses? No. Do you have camera to show who lit the fire? No. Do you know who lit the fire? No. Do you have forensic evidence, fingerprint, footprint, hair fibers, and what have you, to prove your case? No. What you have is a bunch of oral and a bunch of recordings, and that will not be sufficient to sustain a guilty verdict. They have nothing. But it was important, it is always important at the lawyer's stage of this trial that they put everything on the record. It's now on the record. The medical reports are on the record. The performance, the starting investigation is on the record. Now, as we move to the evidentiary stage, you will begin to see the entire case fall apart for lack of sufficient evidence, or lack of no evidence, because the defendants in the darkness are completely innocent.
Okay, sir, one more question. In the report, we saw some of the portion that is glaring that there were, like the defendant claim these were confirmed, but the question is the time frame, which is one of the things the judges were concerned about, that the time frame of what happened, and then the report also stated that it might not have been as a result of the torture.
No, you're wrong. You see, we got to learn to read and comprehend, right? In Thomas Etheridge's report, let me just take one. It says consistent with allegation of torture, period. There's no qualification. If you look at, I believe it was Stephen Breaux, it said consistent with allegation of torture, but could be other things. So you don't just take what they wrote about Stephen Breaux because it's convenient to you. You take what they wrote of each of them. Huh?
There are several others. I'm just giving.
Okay. So maybe there were 2 of them or 3 of them. What happened to the ones where we were consistent? You know that? You don't. Okay? Yeah. And we were under the impression that the medical report, since the court itself identified that it would be scientific, we were under the impression that it would be taken. But I mean, what's the next one? We're going to trial with the overwhelming evidence that they say they have. Which again, they do not have eyewitness. They do not have camera to show who made the fire. They do not have forensic evidence. Imagine the LPRC evidence said the cola bottle contained water and kerosene. What kind of nonsense is that? Well, that's the lawyer's decision. I'm not going to interfere with what they choose to do. No, but I'm not representing myself. The lawyer that representing himself has a fool for a client.
That is it right there.
Yes, we continue to look at it already because what they are saying here is that the defense is saying that the lower court has refused to grant their request, where they are saying that in the collection of the evidence, there was cohesion, there was sodomy, there was pressure, there was waterboarding, and all of these. When they decided to go for scientific thing, the court is saying that the evidence was gathered in line with the law. But Fonati and others are saying that it was not in line with the law. Now, where the court is looking at it states that the hospital did not see any, according to the medical record, they did not see any evidence of sodomy carried out. Okay, in this case, the defendants said they were never sodomized. They were never sodomized. You can't force them to say they were sodomized. But then, when they came for them, they said, "Okay, come for a physical examination." They refused to be physically examined. So, in this case, who do we have to look at? You know, so we cannot submit it as some evidence. Okay, because the people who are involved, I'm having a feedback. The people who are involved, the defendants, those who have been arrested, they are saying that they were not sodomized. Because you have said earlier that they were sodomized, they were pressurized, they were waterboarded, and all of these. But the defendants in person are actually saying, no, we were never sodomized. Okay, but then you press further. Oh, we want more evidence. Yes, they took them to the hospital. The hospital came out and said that there was no evidence of sodomy. Now, if there was no evidence of sodomy, and the person you are saying that the sodomized said they were never sodomized, the court went further and said, well, since this is what you are saying, let's look at, let them come physically to the hospital, let us test them, let us do physical examination. The defendants have refused this physical examination. So it means that they are not willing to cooperate with the evidence that have been produced, and because the evidence, in fact, is not complete. Because you are talking for somebody say, no, it never happened to me. Okay, they go to the hospital say, we don't have evidence of this. Then you say further, well, we don't trust that. The hospital say, okay, then come over, let us have a physical examination. The defendant says, no, nobody is going to touch my butt. So how will you be accusing people of sodomy when people who you are saying that they sodomized, the victims, are denying that they were ever sodomized, you know? So the whole case is just intended. I mean, this whole writ is intended for this court to review. It's something like a judicial review of the decision of the lower court. Okay, so they are asking the Supreme Court to review the ruling on the motion. The motion was to suppress the evidence, which is being believed that the judge on the motion committed reversible error. That is what they are saying, that the judge committed a reversible error because he's trying to suppress evidence. But he's not suppressing evidence because the people who you said were sodomized said, no, I was never sodomized. Then the medical report came and said, well, we did not see any evidence of sodomy. Then again, when the hospital said, well, come over, since your lawyer is not ready, it's not satisfied with this, come, let's do physical thing. They said they're not going, they don't want it that way. So you are trying to suppress, you are suppressing evidence, you know. So the judge is saying he denied it because there is no suppression of evidence. Okay. So if the judge did commit a reversible error and they are asking the Supreme Court, the Supreme Chamber, to correct the error by telling the judge to decide to go back into the case and to review that case. Okay? Even at some point, they were even saying, oh, why did NSA get involved in the investigation? But the judge told them, yes, NSA has to get involved in the investigation. According to the act that established NSA, there is an act that says that NSA can be called upon by the police. It can be called upon by the police to help, especially in terms of technical needs. The police may not have every evidence, or they may not have every resource to be able to reach that case to the end. NSA may have the resources. So the police has the right to call NSA. So there's no reason why Kofa and his friends will be saying that they did not have the NSA, that NSA had no fish to fry in this case. NSA was not looking for a case. But according to the act that established NSA, if the police call on them and say, come, we need you to help us with this, to help us with forensic and other things, NSA will have to come in. Even here in the great United States, where the local police or the state police is having problem, if they need help from the FBI, they have to go into FBI and use FBI resources to be able to get to the bottom of the case. So we are saying all of this, what Fanatikofa and his group are doing, they are just trying to poison the minds of the potential jurors and also to win public sentiment. That's all about it.
Mr. Abu, do you actually think this could delay or change the outcome of the trial with all of these things that are going on with this awesome incident there at Capitol building?
It will change, or it will not change based on the decision of the Supreme Court. Okay, in reviewing the judgment, because they are saying in the writ of certiorari, they say there was something like they say the judge did commit a reversible error. That means if the Supreme Court review it, they need to revise it. Okay, but if the Supreme Court revises it, then it goes back down there. Then they will start looking at these things. It may change the course of the case, or it may not. Because for everything in the end, there are going to be jurors that they will have to listen to. But in this case, the defendants are trying to poison the minds of the potential jurors, and to also win public sentiment. And in the end, it is also been a judicial delay, which Fanatikofa as a lawyer will continue to do. Sometimes in the end, you will see Fanatikofa will say, oh, the entire bench in Monrovia, or court in Monrovia have been poisoned, and we want a change of venue. So he wants it to either go to Grand Crew, where he comes from, so that they'll be eating the palm butter and talking about this case. But Capitol building is not in Grand Crew. We have to talk that case in Monrovia. So that's what I see. In the whole thing, I see they just want to coordinate. And the court must also be very careful, especially in the judiciary. They have to be careful in selecting the jurors, because of the delays that Fanatikofa and friends are looking for. They will do everything. You will see that will be another storming block. Oh, you selected Mr. John Brown, who doesn't like me. You selected Mary Jo to be on the jury. You already know Mary Jo doesn't like CDC, and we are from CDC. You know, they'll be creating all kind of bottlenecks just to make this case a long case, and in the end, sometimes they want to free themselves. But if it is to go to jail, they should go to jail. I think that's what I have to say.
Yeah, so basically it's some sort of legal matter, and I think that all of those petitions that have been filed and all of those things said have always been a strategy, like a thing that these guys want to use, and not against themselves, but in their own favor, to having enough time to be able to find better situations and better way to free themselves out of this case, or maybe drag it for the longest. And as we all know, in Liberia, sometimes some of these things we see is in a sense that we will start up fine with having people who create these kind of situations go into court, and as if to say they are definitely going to end up bearing the penalties. So some of these strategies are strategies enough to make the public, weak about this situation. Not just the public, but again, the government of Liberia, just make them weak about the entire case and drag it for the next 1 year. And there's no better outcome from the government from the case, and for people to be able to understand that these are the kind of things that have happened in this ongoing trial. And again, uh, the lawyers should be very mindful, like you earlier stated, as to how they're going on with this kind of case, especially from the Supreme Court angle, because in as much as these people are going through some legal battles, they also have rights to file petitions, and sometimes given the privilege that they deserve, because they are also Liberians. And if we are not careful, again, these guys might ask for a change of venue, they might ask for changing jurors, like you said. So I think all of these are all strategies, and uh, the lawyers, the judges on the case should be mindful as to how they are going about and making sure that we can have this case brought to conclusion. This is something that is going to cost the country a lot of money to you know renovate the Capitol building from such a fire incident. We all woke up too on the early morning hour here in Liberia, and I think the government is also doing well to pushing this, because the amount of money that will be spent to renovate the Capitol building should have been used for different purpose by the government. But now we have a huge sum of money that will be directed, or that has already been, sent over for such situations. So uh, the government and the judges on this case should be watchful, should be able to understand that Councillor Fonanti Kofa is also a lawyer. He knows uh, ways to, get people off lane, if I may use that and say, and if they are not careful, we will have this case going for the longest.
Well, justice can be delayed, but in the final analysis, it may not be denied, because I think the government will want to stay away from it and allow the justice system to work, and allow the Supreme Court and the court system also to work in Liberia, because this is a very salient case. This is a high-profile case. Simply involves Fonanti Kofa, and he, as a lawyer, he would never want to go to jail. So they would delay the case for the longest, just as we have said, in order to hopefully to poison the minds or influence the minds of those who would be jurors, those who will be selected to be on the jury, and also continue to do it to buy public sentiment. But we are still saying that the government, they are not suppressing evidence, because you are saying that the evidence was collected under coercion, sodomy was committed, pressure was put onto the people, and evidence not supposed to be collected under pressure. And at the same time, he said there was also waterboarding. But the greatest one, which he talked about, which is the sodomy has sodomy has been investigated, and the defendants that he's saying were sodomized are saying no, we were not sodomized. And at the same time, the hospital or the medical report says that they did not find anything to prove that there was sodomy committed. And at the same time, they asked the defendants that he's trying to talk to come over for physical examination, and they have refused physical examination. There is it. You wake up in the morning, Bill. You say, oh, you go to your mom peanut jar. You pick small from there. You put it in your mouth. In the morning, she comes. She say, you eat the peanuts. You say, you don't eat the peanut. Finally, she starts open your mouth. Let me look in your mouth. You refuse to open your mouth. What does that mean? Once you refuse to open your mouth, that means there's evidence that you ate it, but you don't want her to know that you ate it. So this is what happened. They say they're not going to submit to it, and nobody is influencing it. Nobody is doing it, you know. And all they have to do is to keep politicizing, to feel that it is the government or it is President Joseph Boakai that is telling the people prosecute Kofa and his friend. Who is Kofa? So he's so interested. When he goes to South Beach, there's only one bed he can sleep on. There's only one space. The next day, we even forget that he's ever there. He will just be like any other criminal, you know.
Definitely. And so now with this entire situation, and is something that you have. Let me just play this clip as well, and we can get to it as well. One thing I want us to look at too is well, let me just play this clip. It's also from this case, and
nobody went back and how you feel you go free. No, we will make sure that we provide the required evidence that we convict all of them.
Earlier, we did hear the judge mention about the motion to suppress evidence was premature in the whole matter.
Well, we told you that we have evidence. The quality of evidence we have is not evidence that can be overcome. The quality of evidence is very sufficient. When you say sufficiency in evidence in court, those are evidence that cannot be overcome by any rebuttable presumption. So there is no way that they can overcome the evidence we have. Well, and they talk about evidence being collected in such a way, claiming sodomy. The people who they were claiming on their behalf, the people said they were not sodomized. So where that information came from, it might have come from either the lawyer or somebody else. We are responsible institutions. All the criminal justice actors now in Liberia are not people that will tolerate torture. We will not be people that will be in the position to make sure that people are tortured. No.
Prior to the medical report that will be put on social media as well in some media outlets in the country, that the report went in favor of the defendant. Are you not troubled by seeing this report all around?
You know me for long. I don't even talk normally except in on the screen, casual conversation like this. I don't plead my cases in the public, to me. I plead my cases in court. My training is to talk in court and not to come outside the talk. Even David Spencer, I met my friend, and I need to tell you that the ruling was proper, well researched, and it is backed by all the legal, authority.
Now, defense team taking exception to the judge's way in that.
And I listened to all of the response there. So one thing I would like to ask Mr. Abu, do you actually think, most times after the court hearing, you have consider Fonante Kofa coming out of court and reaching out to the press and everything. Do you think that is best before we handle the fire incident quickly at former President Riaz's home on 9th Street? Do you think that is something okay enough to always do after a court hearing, especially for such a big case, or you just want to show out to the public that he has monopoly over, the situation and how to handle it in terms of talking to the media?
That exactly is what Fonante Kofa is doing. when he comes out, every time he comes from the court, he will give a press conference. He wants to talk to the press. I mean, if he knows that he doesn't have anything under his sleeves, Fonatikofa will say no comment and walk away and judge away. But for now, every time you see, every time he comes out, you will hear Fonatikofa wanting to talk about what happened in court and try to defend himself outside and try to do presentations. But then you listen to the other learning man, he told you exactly just what I have said. You know, you're reading on the behalf of somebody said this. So who is trying to suppress evidence? Because you are saying that there was sodomy, there was this, and there was this, there was this. You know, so Fonatikofa is trying to win public sentiment. He's trying to win public sentiment and nothing more than that. And just keep following him for every day when they go to court. Even tomorrow, when they go in front of the justice in chamber, they come from there he's talking again. Because he want to talk as if he's more learned than those people who are making the decision, and he knows more than them. And it cannot happen like that. We know you have you have all of these lawyers, Winkins, Wright, and others. They are all part of your law. But notwithstanding, you know, do not ever think that because the lawyer will never tell you, no, you're wrong, I will not take this case and this and that. They will take the case, and what they want to do is to see the opponent, whether the defense or the prosecution, to be able to convince them that they are wrong. Because there are many times, sometimes if you cannot present your case well in court, you can lose the case. And because you are not able to present convincing evidence, if you can present it, you lose your case. So this is what Fonatikofa is doing, to poison the minds of would-be, I say again, he wants to poison the minds of would-be jurors and also to buy public sentiment. So every time he will come and he is the most learned lawyer in Liberia. But that's not what we're looking at. The most learned lawyer can be a criminal, and that's what it did. Okay? I'm not judging him, but I say can be a criminal. I'm not saying he is. So let's look at this thing. Let's go into the case. But for now, he's acting like a good lawyer. He will keep delaying and looking at good things and try to shine them in a different way, so that those who are not legally minded and those who do not want to look into facts and to present facts and understand facts and analyze them will feel that Fonatikofa is talking the right thing. And some of the people, their minds are already built up that it was the government of Joseph Juma Boakai that went and set for how to call the place, the Capitol building, on fire because they want to lie on Fonatikofa and others. You know, so some people are out there, they already have that kind of mind built up. So when Fonatikofa comes and talk, they will say that he is talking the truth, and it's just the government want to get at him. Who is he? Just another Fonatikofa from Grand Cru. If he asks us to go to Grand Cru with this case, we'll carry there so that they can beat him right in his own courtyard. I think let's put this case to rest. Let's talk about the fire case.
Thank you so much. So, of recent, 2 days ago, right after the return of Mr. Weah back in the country, we saw a situation at his Nan Street residence, a fire situation, which we also got report from the Liberia National Fire Service that the situation was caused by electrical fault at his residence. So let me just bring this. It says the Liberia National Fire Service has released a preliminary report on the recent fire at former President George Weah's Nan Street residence. According to the Liberia National Fire Service, the blaze started in Weah's first floor bedroom, likely due to an electrical shock, the speed to his bed, dresser, and window before being brought under control. So the fire broke out at 12:48 a.m. and was out within 30 minutes. So that is it right there, Mr. Abu. We saw that situation of recent, and what do you make of it? Some supporters of the CDC, without understanding the situation, claim that there was threat to former President Weah, and some people want to harm the former president, especially people from the ruling government. A lot of different things was being said on social media, except for the fact that we have a preliminary report from the fire service that says that it should have probably been an electrical shock that caused the fire.
The fire service is a professional group trained by the government, paid by the government, not only the government of Joseph Newman Boakai, but the government of the George Weah. They were paid fire service. They trained them. And they have come in, they say it was an electrical fault. Saying that the incident occurred, every indication, every report that came out in the beginning from even the CDC, including the chairman of the party, said that the fire originated from the bedroom of former President Weah. The bedroom. Was Mr. Weah in the building? Yes. People who witnessed it, those who helped in quenching the fire, who went on the beach to get sand to bring it to help quench that fire, said George Weah was in the building. From the fire service preliminary report, we believe that there is not a foul play, or except George Weah is saying, his cohorts are saying that it was somebody from the government who went and changed from one breaker to another breaker, so that by the time George Weah enters that building, his bedroom was going to catch fire. But they must not forget, in addition, for some of us who have traveled and we have open minds, we may have several versions of it. But in the end, we have to believe the one that is given us by the fire service, because we know it is our taxes that they pay the fire service, that they are trained from it. So what they say, we have to believe it, except if George Weah takes them or his party take them to court, and the court tell us that the fire service did not say the truth. But two things have been established: that the fire originated from George Weah's room, his bedroom. He may have several bedrooms in the house because the house is for him. So every room there may be his bedroom. But when they say it originated from George Weah's bedroom, that means his main bedroom. So where if he sleeps in the house 10 nights, he will sleep there at least 8 nights. So it started in his bedroom. And another fact that has been established is that George Weah was in the building when it started. And he even participated in calling for help. Where some people come from to tell us, oh, the fire service did not respond on time. Okay. We agree. When when Mas Sangay house was burning in Garnersville, in Nikrutan, when it took 45 minutes for fire service to reach there until Mas Sangay house got burnt, they blamed the fire service. So why at this time, if there is a delay in getting to George Weah's house where there was a small fire that's starting from the room, if it started from the room at a time, small fire, if they took 30 minutes to get there, why would they be blaming the government that the government had hand? Or was it the government that decided to puncture the tires of the fire trucks? Was it the government that decided to empty the fire trucks so that water can be there to make it respond? Was it the government that made the radio system not work so that when you call in the fire service, they would not hear it to respond immediately? We have to think about something in that country. Everything, it is the government. It is the government. George Weah, I know he is educated. He may not have worked in the United States. He must know that there are setting fire in your house. You can put it under control while you call the fire service. They are setting fire in the house. You can use the fire extinguisher. And setting fire in the house, you leave it to burn and you call the fire service because your own life will be in danger. But because I believe George Weah knew the source of this fire, he attempted to cut it off.
You believe he knows the source?
He knew the source of that fire. That is why he attempted to cut it off. If he did not know the source of the fire, George Weah would have run away and get outside and call people. It started, even the security at the gate did not know immediately. Some fellow who was around, I think Nyati spoke to him, Nyati from OKFM, spoke to him. They saw the fire, they saw the smoke coming out of from the top of the building, and specifically from where George Weah's room is located. They came, they started helping. It took some time before George Weah came outside. And he came, he was one of the people who, according to people that allegedly received some of the sand that they were using to go cut up the thing before the fire truck came. But all we have to do in Liberia is that everything must be blamed on the government. Government is not doing anything good. They're just doing everything bad. And West, when it comes to George Weah, his arrival, they don't like George Weah. That's why they didn't allow him to sit in the, how to call the place, the VIP. He's this time a special VIP. When they call you a special VIP, you have to have a special authorization to be able to use certain facility. You can't just come and walk in because they say you are special. You are no longer, quote unquote, the VIP for Liberia. Any opportunity is something that you have to earn. You earn it as a former president, but at the time, you as former president, it is the prerogative of the current protocol that take care of the current president that determine whether you have to be in there. If you're being in there would cause security threat or security disjointment, you will have to be said to use another route. But then George Weah came. He has a house in Rehab. Why would George Weah be always being afraid? The large group went. He lives opposite President Boakai. He felt that house was not safe for him. He moved from there. He came to 9th Street, where he will have the time to be with all of his people. All the people gone home. He remains in the house with who he wants to be with and do what he wants to do. Fire begins to blaze in the house. He must imagine, he must understand that he is no longer the common George Weah that used to be in Gibraltar. That when fire catches on the house, the whole community must get involved. He must understand that his house, I don't know whether he has it covered by insurance. Here in America, when I know my house has insurance, no. As soon as I call the 911, I'm running outside. Because if you remain in the house and get burned, whatever they're going to rebuild that house will not come to you. You will not get the benefit. So I can say that George Weah himself, he erred. He did not have to stay in the house, except he knew the source of the fire that he felt, that he could be able to quench it. He could not quench it. It became too big for him. Or he was too tired. The fire was bigger than him. The fire was bigger than his capacity. So if the police or his security called they called the fire service, they did what they could do. They could not run there for any of them to die for George Weah. Even the SS or the EPS assigned to him, who would have been in the house or at the gate, they would never go into the house. Running into the house would be to drag him outside, to bring him outside. But if he stayed there and attempted to cut off that fire, Mr. Weah knew about that fire. Fire service will come in and try to say that it was electrical because they do not want to point exactly to someone who will say you, no, I did not do it, and no matter how you do it, because you did not see them setting it out. But if Mr. Weah knows about Western culture, that fire, whether it started in his hair, I know he has boy like me, whether it started in his hair or in his beard, he was just going to knock it up and give it to the police because it's the house that was going to burn. He was to save himself first. Insurance will pay for it. Insurance will take care of it. If he was able to build up a good insurance system in his country, he has 6 years. Anything any other person did not do, you have to do it. And always think about the future. Because if you think, oh, insurance will not even pay for it, you had the authority as the chief executive of the country to make sure that insurance policies are put in place that will compel them to take care of this thing. Whether it is you, George Weah, at your house point, whether it is my Keba that is way in Pinsville, or it is my Lopu that is way in Chicken Soup Factory, or my Finasuko, that is all the way in other places. The house's point, the insurance, you want to put it into perspective. But up to now, he left the system and he doesn't trust the people. So every attempt he was making to cut off that fire means he did not even trust the fire service. He did not trust the insurance system. And all they will have to do is to blame it on Joseph Boakai, the poor man, just because they want to insult him every day. But he had his opportunity to have set all those things straight in the country. At least there were some things that you would have put in place that when you leave from there, you leave it as a legacy that you know. I'm sure, even though I've left a very good insurance system in my country. I left a very good fire service in my country. He stayed there all throughout. Only one fire truck was for the fire service. Recently, before they started bringing fire trucks in it. But I know they will still say they were the one who made the proposal for the fire trucks, and the fire trucks started coming only during Joseph Boakai time. We do agree.
Government is continuity, someone could say that.
It is continuity. You make the policies and other people follow it. You know. But I still feel that I'm not accusing him. But they say men can talk all. And I'm not going to be here to say everything. But I know if he attempted to cut off that fire, he knew how the fire started. George Weah would not have seen electrical thing burning. The fire, let's say, for example, the light bulb in the place start flashing fire, pipe. George Weah will run for his life. But he knew how that fire started. but they will say it's electrical because Mr. Electricity would not jump up and can't tell us, yes, I don't want another fire.
Do you think the fire situation at his residence should be an issue here for his supporters to take as a big situation, or what?
Well, his supporters are always sitting on the edge. Many of them, the opportunities they had during the 6 years, the opportunities are gone. Some of them, the money that they made, the money finished. And many of them, the people they have authority and control over, they no longer control those people. The number of social entanglements that they had have all been loosened. And nothing is coming their way anymore. So they are still thinking that it's going to come back tomorrow. Many of them also know that it's not going to come back tomorrow. So all they have to do is to continue to cause noise. I saw one of the clips you played with someone there calling words from Student Companion. Student Companion became outdated because I was in elementary school in the 60s and the early 70s. We're there with Student Companion when he's using all those words, enigma, charlatan. Those are all not new English words. Miscreant is the word, not misquant. That's not a word, misquant. And they tell people that they know English. Let a guy go back and sit under my little son in the 6th grade. We need to have this program in Liberia. There's a program here in America on the television we call Smarter Than a 4th Grader. That program disgraces doctorate degree holders, disgraces master's degree holders. They call it Smarter Than a 4th Grader. You come in, they got a group of 4th grade students who have already done their lesson. You did it many years ago, you finish forgetting. All of a sudden, they will ask you a question that is from the 4th grade curriculum. All you have to do is to select one of those students. You say, that's my classmate. So that is the person who is going to help you. Whatever answer that person gives is the answer that you agree to. So if I say, okay, William McGill is my classmate, or is the one that is my classmate, then after the question is asked, all the students are going to write their answers. Then William McGill will answer. They will bring William McGill answer. Then they'll ask me whether I agree with you. Sometimes I'll say, yes, I agree with you. But the kids are so smart, they'll put a wrong answer down. Because they know you finish forgetting, then you say, yes, I agree with William McGill. But that's the wrong answer William McGill gave. So some of them, that man who was talking all that hitting, after I talk, please bring him back. Let's laugh. Let's have a little fun. Charlatan, enigma, poverty, this and that he's talking about. Those boys must go back to school and learn book. They try to, they are trying to poison the Liberian people's mind.
The country. That's the country. That's a.
Yes, they talk.
So-called experts in the country. That's a contradiction. So I think the guys are just a bunch of local, political, and professional tabula rasa and buccaneers.
Tabula rasa. That word is not even in the Student Companion. Student Companion is outdated. In Student Companion, they used to have a chapter there that said big words for small words. So when we're going to impress the women or we're trying to impress our friends during debate and others, we look at the small words, then we look at the big word for them. Then you use them, He needs to come to contest against Smarter Than the 4th Grader.
Do you want
So
to
we're
support?
asking, those words he's using, in what context is he using those words? Political, enigma, and this and that. Play the whole thing. Let me laugh. Give me some joy. Contradiction. He makes
lawlessness of barbarity, of hooliganism, of gangsterism. The burning of the Capitol building is Mr. Bago Common. And that's the reason why we have come to protect the CDC law.
What's the specific fear of the lawmakers that are being invited for questioning? What's the specific fear about the lawmakers that are being invited for questioning?
No pressing. There's no pressing here for CDC. Nobody can resident lawmaker here. All the guys are doing what now big formality. Government Common doesn't have any pressing for us in this country. Let me repeat. Government Common doesn't have Government Common police. They do not have pressing for CDC. Yes. All we come here for is for formality. Yes.
Your statements could sound intimidating to
Why you got intimidating? Do you know that somebody already over flooded and flooded? Is that intimidation? I'm telling you.
You don't bury people you get like. I'm trying to find another clip of Alvin. Let me see how best I can get that.
He says contradiction. He made his hand like that. How contradiction can be? Because when you're making your hand like that, that means they're balancing.
I'm still trying to find not this.
You see, these guys must understand. No one is afraid of CDC, but many of them do not have jobs. I told you at the beginning of our programs, when they came to power, Molu was sending 50 names to some agency that they must employ them. They never created jobs. So to employ those people means that they had to lay off people. So the creating of jobs was to lay off people. And that is not what the government does. You create a job so those who are working remain on job so that new people can come and join them in other industries. You look at many other industries and try to reactivate those industries. They did not do it. So why would they be intimidating people? They go in group everywhere. They act like boarding school students that come to the city, you know. Every day when they move in group. In the morning, one person moves to his friend's house. They stay there. Two of them go to the other one. They become 3. Then they become 4. Then they move to the other one, 5. By the time they get in the street, they are almost about 7, 8. You see them passing, you think they are doing something, you know. They wear the purple suit. Then you think that they are out for something. But nothing. After they finish doing it, they say, "Bye, help your man with something, man. I need to go home." You know. But we are saying, we agree, 2029, George Weah will be on the ballot. But in the meantime, give this government the chance to do their 6-year development and whatever they want to do. They are so much on the edge that everything, if they even go today and buy one new suit for Joseph Boakai, they will say they're the one that trained the tailor to sew that suit. It was CDC time that they trained that tailor to sew the suit for Joseph Boakai, or else Joseph Boakai was not going to wear a suit. You want to build an overhead bridge? They are the one that did this. They signed this and this and that. They had all those many taxes that came in town. All of them have disappeared. Amazing Grace or whatever grace they had. They all disappeared. We got more motorbikes. They did not buy motorbikes for the guys. Those who were in government, as government was changing, criminals, and now I will use my word the right way, miscreants. They took their vehicles and crossed the border with them and sold them in Sierra Leone and Guinea and Ivory Coast and came back. Today they're sitting down. We agree. When the fire incident took place, you see everybody coming. Former foreign minister came. That one I don't even like to talk about him because he got harassment. He got harassment case over a head. You know. He walking with 1 foot. His 2 feet not equal. One short, one long. You know. You pass by that man. All of them. Akaris Gray, who the thing happened in his area. He was the last that came there because he was in sleep home. I don't know where he was. The other people who live in Painesville, they got to the place before him. Then when he came, he started causing noise and making noise that nobody could hear. Sometimes some of them talk, even chicken don't hear what they say. We keep looking at them. 2029, they will be on the ballot. Their people will vote for them, but they will not win. Because every time they are protesting, a number of people leave their camp. People who got nothing to do. I'm still saying this fire business, I'm sorry that it happened in the former president's house. But the former president did not do himself due diligence. It would have been more if the fire was going to get to the front door and the back door, where the president was not going to be able, the former president was not going to be able to come out.
So someone could say he never wanted his place to burn, down to ashes. So he had to also fight the fire because it was already early morning here.
That is good. I will also think that way. But from what I have seen, what fire can do to people, what I have seen, the thing fire can do to people, his caliber of someone, his caliber, former president, he's not in Ghana, he's not in another country, he is in Liberia, his country, where he was president before. Why you gotta be afraid? You got enough money. If he lost that house, if he lost that house today, he got somewhere to sleep. He can go to a Jamaica resort. It happened to him. When they demolished the party headquarters, someone immediately provided a place where they are meeting now. So why must he be worried? That means he said he doesn't trust his people. Not that he doesn't trust the government. He doesn't trust the people because they took their money and did something else with it. He built his place. Government helping to build because government is supposed to provide residency for the president. So nobody must say the government did not help him to construct that place. They did. So in this incident, Mr. President, Mr. George Weah, you erred. Except you knew the source of that fire. Sometimes somebody can be playing with fire and the fire drops on the rock. And all of a sudden you think a small fire, you step on it, you can't cut up. You put your hand on it, you can't cut up. You keep blowing, nothing, you can't cut up. You leave it, let it burn. Because fire service did not even participate in cutting off that fire. The fire was up before the fire service got in. So how can fire service tell us that the electrical fire there? The fire caught up before the fire service got there. Or else they will not be blaming them. Mr. President, the next time there is fire like that, please let it burn. Burn, fire, burn. But I still believe, I don't want to conclude. The president saw the fire coming. He knows the source of the fire. He saw it coming. He overlooked it, and he overlooked everything, attempting to cut off the fire. He did not leave the building immediately for safety. He wants to stay there and fight it himself. That president knew about that fire. He knew about that fire there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abu. Let's take this short clip from Alvin Wieser and back with their try to conclude on our talking points tonight.
Small rescue puppets, those apologists, those rescue surrogates, those miscreants, those rescue multi-banks and charlatans who were insulting people. Oh, yes, and some of them, they are in economic destitution, paralysis, and enigma. So-called experts in the country, that's a contradiction. So I think the guys are just a bunch of what we call political and professional tabula rasa and buccaneers.
Tabula rasa and buccaneers.
Political, no, what you say? Poverty and political destitution. Destitution. I agree with him. Mr. Alvin would say, I know I'm your big brother, but I still want to say, Mr. Alvin would say, stop using those BB words. Because you're just impressing your people who standing right around you. Because some of the words you use there, Marky must stay in front of you and throw her down straight.
The man said he's a literature student, so he's talked to as well, so he has to speak.
Well, those words are not in literature. You know,
yeah, all vocabs.
Yeah, because if he wants to talk literature, we expect him to be talking the things that come from Julius Caesar, from Edgar Allan Poe, you know, those from Tom Sawyer, from those things there, the Merchant of Venice, all those things there. You know, that's why he's supposed to be talking about those words that were translated from Latin. You know, but these are common, simple words. Student companion. There used to be another book they used to call First Aid. You know, taught you. You know, those were the places that would learn our subject-verb agreement. So you see, he's doing injustice to even the student companion because he didn't learn the subject-verb agreement section of that book. He only went to the small words for big words, big words for small words. You know, that's why he learned. So to close up today, I still want to say that Mr. Fanatikofor and his defense team, they are trying to buy time. They are trying to play on the time, and he will talk every day. They are trying to poison the minds of those who are going to be selected as jurors. And at the same time, they want to buy public sentiment so that people will feel that they are right. That in fact, they were not the one who did it. They just lie on them and all this kind of thing and try to lie, but they wouldn't want to say anything. So I still feel that Mr. Fanatikofor, when you come from court, please don't be talking, because once you want to talk, then that means that you just want to play your game that you normally play in the court. We know you for that, you know. So just leave that thing. Keep quiet and let your lawyers talk. At this time, you are not representing yourself. You have lawyers, you know. So leave those things, Mr. Fanatikofor, because just as Sarapa said, right after the time for the selection of jurors, he will tell you, oh, these jurors are not good. We have heard that they have paid the jurors and this and that and all the kind of thing. Then after the jurors will start the case, then he will say, oh, I want us to move the case from Monserrado to another county and all this and that. You know, these are the things they will do. So stop playing with the intelligence of the Liberian people. We know that you are a legal mind. You may decide to play the Maradona on a legal floor, but please, you have several Liberian people who have been affected. That Capitol building, the money they took to rebuild, to decorate it like that, it was our taxpayers' money. They will keep taking it from us. Your children are not there. They are all the way in the United States. Your children are not paying taxes. Your children have never paid taxes in Liberia, you know, and they are not going to pay because our children are going to pay for that thing. You're putting the place down, you know. Be truthful to yourself. I know you're a Catholic. I don't know when last you went for confession. I'm not judging you, you know. But what do you tell the priest? You talk every other thing, but you will not talk that one, you know, and ask for forgiveness, you know. Leave the Liberian people then alone. Don't be afraid to go to jail. You have put people in jail before. That jailhouse is not for rat, it's not for monkeys, it's for human beings. You see, the other CDC men say the jailhouse is already full, so they can't put all of us there, you know. So if you're afraid to go to jail, I know the 2 days that you spend there, the little way the kind of way you spend it, you spend the people, the pee there, you don't want to go back there. So you're looking for every way. You spend all your money in the end, you go there, you know. And then we come to the burning of the fire of the former president's house. The fire is established. The fire started from the former president's room. That's his major room. We established that he was in the building when it started. Another fact we have just established is that he attempted to cut off the fire instead of running for safety as former president. What the SS there for? It's not, you don't only run for safety when you hear gun sound, because even fire is bad. You would have got it out and let other people take care of it. Just as how people are contributing to build the party headquarters, they would have contributed to rebuild your house. After all, you got several sleeping places, Mr. President. You have the Jamaica Resort, you have the other place in rehab. You could be sleeping there, you know. But all we say is that you erred first by not trying to go for safety, to provide an opportunity for your partisans to come and be accusing people, to be talking trash to people. It can't happen like that, Mr. President. The next time there's fire, please don't stay there, Mr. President. I advise you, get out. Insurance will take care if your house is insured. Or maybe, hopefully, you have not even paid your premium for some time. So you're afraid. So you decided to do it yourself. Apart from those assigned to you by the government, you have your own people that are assigned to you. What did they do? The community had to come to tell you for truth that the community like you. If you even got current in your house, electricity in your house, you're supposed to share it with the people there, with the people outside your fence, because they will always come to your defense. They will always help those people. The day you turn over to Joseph Boakai must be your last day of helping those people who are in your community. Help the people. So I still believe the fire, you knew the source and believed that you could quench it all by yourself until it became big in your hand. Mr. President, please don't make that mistake again when it comes to fire. Don't play with it. Don't play with fire. So I want to say thank you for all of you who are out there listening to us. It was an interesting show. We gave our views on Atikofa. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a journalist. I look at the facts that were presented. I'm not arguing the facts. I just tell you that this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, which are being either colluded or collaborated, or they are being corroborated in the court. So I want to say thank you to all our listeners out there. This is Waves TV. My name is Samuel Abu. I look forward to coming meet you again next Tuesday. If you think we did not say things the way you wanted it to be said, well, we invite you. You can come with us next week and let's debate on this on this platform. We say it as it is. As long as we remain professional, as long as we decide to be very subtle with our situation, we look forward to meeting you again. Thank you so much, William.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Abu. And we'll be on here next week, Tuesday, beginning at 10 p.m. Liberia time, till 6 p.m. the U.S. time. Many thanks to Mr. Samuel Abu, who always been here with us on the program. Thanks to all of our viewers for following Waves TV. And thanks to the management as well for giving us this opportunity. Until we talk next Tuesday, my name is William Michael. Good evening.
small rescue puppets, those apologists, those rescue surrogates, those miscreants, those rescue monkey banks and charlatans who were insulting people. Oh, yes, and some of them they are in economic destitution, paralysis, and enigma. So-called experts in the country, that's a contradiction. So I think the guys are just a bunch of what we call political and professional tabula rasa and buccaneers.